Jeffrey Epstein case driving a wedge through the GOP. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson wants the files released and says Pam Bondi has some explaining to do. Plus, the Keystone State becomes the key to unlocking the potential of AI. We will tell you about the $90 billion investment President Trump is pushing in Pennsylvania. And conjuring up nightmares. The real-life Annabelle doll is being blamed for another mysterious death. Something spooky is going on in Gettysburg. Those stories and more today, Wednesday, July 16th. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. Russia continued its air assault on Ukraine overnight, raining down drone and missile attacks. The Blitz killing at least 2 people in the city of Kharkiv and knocking out power and water in the south of the country. The bombardment comes a little more than a day after President Trump's promise to arm Ukraine and tariff threats against Russian trading partners. All this just as a new report in the Financial Times claims that President Trump said he was considering making Russia, quote, feel the pain in order to get them back to the negotiating table. This pressure campaign was reportedly floated by the president during a July 4th call with Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky. He allegedly asked Zelensky if his military could, quote, hit Moscow and hit St. Petersburg. The Ukrainian leader apparently responded, quote, we can if you give us the weapons. Now, the White House tells the Post that the Financial Times took the call out of context and that President Trump was simply asking a question, not encouraging further killing. That call was the day after Trump spoke with Russian President Vladimir Putin and came away convinced that the Kremlin had no real interest in ending the war or seeking peace. A BBC phone interview with President Trump on Tuesday supports the idea that he's not giving up on finding a diplomatic solution with Putin despite the Russian leader stalling.
Are you done with him? I mean, I know that sounds a simplistic thing.
But I'm disappointed in him. But I'm not done with him, but I'm disappointed in him. So we had a deal done 4 times, and then you go home and you see he just attacked a nursing home or something in Kiev. I said, what the hell was that all about?
Do you trust him?
I trust almost nobody.
Meanwhile, U.S. Special Envoy Keith Kellogg is in Ukraine this week meeting with President Zelensky and other officials. One of them, a top Zelensky aide, called on President Trump to, quote, apply real pressure on Russia in the hopes of bringing about peace. And back in Washington, there is a growing list of Republicans breaking with President Trump over the Jeffrey Epstein case. And here's one more. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. He was asked about the controversy by conservative podcaster Benny Johnson. And here's what the speaker said.
He put together a team of his choosing, and they're doing a great job. It's a very delicate subject, but we should put everything out there and let the people decide it. I mean, the White House and the White House team are privy to facts that I don't know. I mean, this isn't my lane. I haven't been involved in that. But I agree with the sentiment that we need to put it out there. And you know, Pam Bondi, I don't know, when she originally made the statement, I think she was talking about documents, as I understood it, they were on her desk. I don't know that she was specific about a list or whatever, but she needs to come forward and explain that to everybody. I like Pam. I mean, I think she's done a good job. We need the DOJ focusing on the major priorities. So let's get this thing resolved.
Johnson said he was anxious to get the whole ordeal put behind Republicans and said the DOJ should instead be focused on violent crime, public safety, election integrity, and going after Act Blue. That is the pivotal fundraising PAC of the Democratic Party. But unfortunately for the speaker, that might be easier said than done. Plenty of members of his own party are not relenting on Epstein-gate. And in the minuscule overlap of the political Venn diagram, plenty of Democratic lawmakers feel similarly. Our own Miranda Devine spoke with Speaker Johnson about his relationship with the president and so much more. So check that out on our sister podcast, Podforce One, right after you finish this one. Now to New Jersey, where one family has truly found the silver lining to a dark cloud after narrowly escaping their home before an explosion and fire reduced it to rubble. The family of 4 evacuated their house Tuesday, and not a moment too soon. Shortly after they were out, it blew up. What is wild here is that they fled because of a flash flood warning in their neighborhood, not because they had any reason to suspect that the structure was about to go up in flames. Now, this explosion threw debris everywhere into nearby yards and on the roofs of some neighbors, and other homes close to the blast appeared to have been damaged, but there were no reported injuries, all thanks to those flood evacuation orders. Now, a cause had yet to be determined as of Tuesday night, but at the time of the incident, there were complaints about gas in the area. The heavy rains that prompted these life-saving evacuations flooded the roads around the home and across the tri-state area Monday night, prompting New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy to declare a state of emergency. Now to our big story, AI in PA. President Trump announced a new $90 billion private AI investment to make the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania the center of the AI universe. Now, Trump traveled to Pittsburgh Tuesday for the announcement with Senator Dave McCormick in tow. The move is being done in an effort to help the Keystone State compete with other high-tech regions across the country, like Silicon Valley and Northern Virginia. Some of the biggest investment pledges include Google, who committed $25 billion to build AI infrastructure and data centers over the course of 2 years. They also promised $3 billion more to refurbish 2 hydroelectric plants to power those data centers. Blackstone added a $25 billion pledge of its own for similar AI infrastructure and power. The Post's White House reporter, Diana Narosi, traveled with the president Tuesday, and she joins me now. Diana, as AI becomes a bigger and bigger part of our lives, what does this investment mean for the broader economy?
Well, the president said, during his remarks and throughout his administration, he's shown that there's no hesitancy, at least from his part, in how AI is going to shape the economy and basically change everything. He didn't talk about in his remarks specifically about, his vision for the future of AI, but he's made statements in the past, and he signed an executive order saying that the government should retract all policies that will hinder the development of the technology. So for him, it's all about outcompeting China, seeing how American innovation can develop the AI technology as quickly as possible, as responsibly as possible, but that could mean a lot of changes going forward.
Now, did the president or anyone at the conference address concerns around job losses that AI threatens to increase?
Well, at the conference, the president and those around him, of course, were making this big investment, announcing it. So, of course, they were positive on it and even claimed that it will create jobs. And afterwards, I asked the president this very question: are you concerned about these factors, about job loss or, changes to education, changes to our lives in many different ways? And he, again, was optimistic and said that because of his tariffs, many people will be coming to the United States, will be opening up factories. And he said that AI and maybe even robots will be needed to occupy all these new jobs. So for him, it's linked to a lot of his different policies. And he's again, very optimistic about the potential and about what the technology will do in the future.
Now, Pennsylvania was arguably the most crucial swing state in the last presidential election. Do you think there's something to be said about choosing this state among any other? Is there a political angle that could be at play here?
Yes, I think definitely. And he spoke to that. He spoke about Butler. Of course, the assassination attempt was very near to Pittsburgh just over a year ago. So he spoke at length about that. And Senator McCormick was the leader of this investment project, and he very narrowly defeated the Democrat incumbent just last November. So Trump spoke about his relationship with McCormick, about Butler, about his relationship with Pennsylvania and how the state brought him to victory. And he expressed hope for the future of Pennsylvania because it is a Rust Belt state. It used to be the leader of innovation and of industry. And he said that AI could bring the state back and could bring workers back and maybe be the new innovation, the new technological state once more with AI.
It's so great that we were able to get you after you had spent that day on the ground there with the president. Thank you so much, Diana.
Thank you.
A longtime music supervisor on American Idol was shot and killed inside of her California home in a double homicide that is puzzling investigators. Robin Kay and her husband Thomas DeLuca were found slaughtered inside of their multi-million-dollar mansion last week after neighbors saw a suspicious person hopping the fence and they called police. Now, officers arrived on the scene, they found nothing, and they left. But Monday, they were called again after the couple had not been heard from for 4 days. This time, though, cops found a smashed window and blood near the entrance of the home. Now, TMZ reports that the couple were found in separate rooms, both shot in the head. Now, Kay worked for American Idol for at least 15 seasons, according to her IMDb profile, and she won multiple awards for that work. Now, the investigation into this double murder is ongoing, but on Tuesday night, police did arrest a 22-year-old suspect, and they believe this is an isolated incident. And finally, today, a story to die for. You know those horror movies about Annabelle, the demonic doll? Well, they're based on real life, and the real deal Annabelle is supposedly a possessed Raggedy Ann doll. She's apparently at it again. I'm not kidding here. A paranormal investigator who was on tour with the real version suddenly dropped dead this week. Dan Rivera, the lead investigator at the New England Society for Psychic Research, was part of this sold-out Devils on the Run tour that stopped in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania last weekend. And Sunday night, firefighters and medics were called to his hotel but could not save the 54-year-old who died under mysterious circumstances. There was reportedly no clear cause of death. Now, Annabelle is tied to a bunch of hauntings and violent incidents dating back to the 70s. Famed husband and wife occult investigators, the Warrens, were called in to get this evil toy under control. And she sat under lock and key in the late couple's Connecticut Museum until recently. When Annabelle is on tour, she's accompanied by a Catholic priest who blesses the doll before moving to a new place. But this incident isn't the only havoc she's allegedly wreaked as of late. Last month, Annabelle was blamed for that mass prison escape in New Orleans and the burning of a historic plantation in the same area, because those things happened around the same time she was on display in the Big Easy. I am so sorry for scaring you half to death with that last story there, but something not so terrifying. Head to the New York Post in print or online to enjoy everything else we are working on. And if you don't want me to stick Annabelle on you, you need to like and subscribe to the New York Postcast wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. I'm just kidding. I love you all. I would never, but please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. I'll miss you. I'll see you tomorrow.